How are we doing today? I hope everyone is having a wonderful Wednesday so far. My name is McCry Stuhlin, and here on Crafting with Crow, we work on a current project from Native Crow, Taxidermy and Oddities LLC, while I tell an interesting story of a topic that is on my mind. Here are a few places you can find me. Like me, share me, and subscribe to my channel to keep up with new projects and posts weekly. So I ended up missing last week. I'm really sorry about that, but it was a very heavy and emotional and crazy week for me, and I just needed to take a break. But I'm back this week, back today, and back on Friday with my Everything Freaky and Full of Mystery posts, so keep up with those too. Alright, so today we are working on this deer skull, partial deer skull, decorating it up and making it a lovely piece of wall art. And today's topic is going to fall under old wives' tales and superstitions. So, the other day I was laying in bed. My body was aching. I was extremely emotional and just not having the best time. And as I was laying there, one of my cats came up and laid on my chest and was trying to comfort me and make me feel better. And it made me think of a time where my mom had told me that cats will lay on your chest to heal you. And it made me wonder if there is any truth to that, or where that even came from, where the idea of that even came from. So I started doing some digging and looking into it, because even though it seems like an odd thing, I did feel like in that moment when my cat was laying on my chest, it did bring a sense of peace and comfort and make me feel a little bit better. So, looking into that a little more and figuring out what that really means and what that entails, it is believed that cats have a healing energy. So, cats are believed to be healers that can detect and soothe any low vibrations in your body. And they use their purrs to kind of help heal you and soothe you, make you feel better. And that's something that I feel like I could definitely vouch for, because I always do feel better when I have my kitty cats cuddled up with me, purring on my lap or my chest. And they say when they are placed in the center of your chest, near your heart, that's like your heart's chakra. So that's like where all your balance comes from. So that's kind of like the healing aspect of cats, and I thought that was interesting to learn about. Cats apparently also bring spiritual protection, which is something that I didn't know. And that was an interesting thing to learn about too. So what does that mean exactly? So cats bringing spiritual protection. Cats are often considered interdimensional beings, and they ward off evil spirits and protect their owners against those negative evil spirits. It is said that cats can guard their owners against the negative spirits and put a protective shield around your soul. That was a new thing for me to learn, and doing a little bit of research on the aspect of cats being healers. I didn't realize that they were also viewed as protection against evil spirits. So that's definitely an interesting thing to learn about. Cats are also apparently good at validation of a path. So when a cat chooses the spot on you, it is a sign from the universe that you are in a safe and aligned space and that you are being guided on your journey. Whoops, lost a tooth there. I'll have to put that back into place. Losing some teeth on my deer here. But the truth be told about cats, yes, they do bring a sense of peace and comfort, but often the reason why they choose to lay on your chest or to lay on your lap is because when they are relaxed and choosing a place to rest or settle down, it puts them in a very vulnerable state. And when the cat is vulnerable, it's going to try to gravitate towards something that makes it feel safe. So when a cat chooses to lay on your lap, it's not necessarily, or your chest, it's not necessarily out of protecting you. It's more so viewed as trying to protect itself. So they will choose to sit on your lap because, again, they're in a vulnerable state when they are sleeping and relaxed, and being on a safe lap or chest, they don't have to worry about predators or anything dangerous getting to them. They also really enjoy being on your chest because it's soothing for them to feel and listen to your heartbeat and your breathing. So that's another theory as to why they choose to lay on your lap or your chest. While it is nice to think that cats are healers, I think if they are healers of any kind, it's strictly emotionally. My cat was laying on my chest and I had messed up my neck and my back really bad, and that's what made me think about all of this, is maybe my cat's trying to heal my sore body and make me feel better. But it was probably actually more so the emotional side that I was dealing with that my cat may have detected and decided to comfort me and try to make me feel better in my time of need. So cats do have this sympathetic part of them, and they can sense when you're not feeling well. And I think they do try to go to efforts to make you feel better. While some people may not see it that way, I think that is something that cats are capable of doing, and I feel like it's proved itself or prevented itself in that situation last week. So kudos to kitty cats. But looking into that, researching some of that, got me thinking about other old wives' tales or superstitions that are kind of floating around. Things that we pass down to our generations and our children. So today I want to talk about some of those silly things that I'm sure all of us have heard. So something that I have heard and it was talked about in all my classes growing up. Everybody said this, that if you swallowed your chewing gum, that it stayed in your body, in your stomach, for the next 7 years or something like that. That is not true. Apparently, if you swallow your gum, it's no different than swallowing anything else, and it will eventually pass through your system during that same week. Just like with everything else, it flushes out. It doesn't stay in there for 7+ years. So I think that's kind of funny that not only myself heard that pretty much all my growing up, but everyone else did too. And it's just a little superstition, I think, to try to keep kids from swallowing the gum, because it's not designed to be eaten. It's designed to be chewed on. So I think that's probably the only reason why we had that rumor spreading around for so long, and why our parents would tell us that. So that's not true. It's not going to stay in your system for 7 years. It's going to pass like everything else does. It's just simply not advised. Try not to swallow your gum. Another one that I remember hearing a lot when I was a kid was to not go outside while my hair was wet. Otherwise, I would get sick. So that's something that's preached a lot, and I don't really know the reason why, because it's not true. The only way that you're going to catch a cold or get sick is through a virus, not through stepping outside with wet hair. So that's a kind of a funny one that we've all lived by for so long, and it's not even true. I feel like there's going to be a lot of those in this, and I'll explain kind of why we've gotten to that point too. Another thing that I heard a lot when I was a kid, and still as an adult sometimes, is that when you crack your knuckles, like pop them, I don't really do that too often because I think it's painful, but it was always preached that when you crack your knuckles, that it eventually causes arthritis. Apparently it's the only thing that it actually does is it just releases gas bubbles that are trapped inside your knuckles. There is no proof or evidence that it causes arthritis. Doctors have done their studies on that and found that it doesn't actually do that. So that was an interesting thing to learn. I always thought, or was under the impression, that it did cause arthritis, and that's one of the reasons why I don't ever crack my knuckles, because I don't want to feel that or experience that. And even though it's probably destined to happen, I'm going to try to do everything I can to avoid having to deal with arthritis, because arthritis does not sound fun. Another old wives' tale that some of us have heard of, I'm not going to say all of us because I didn't hear of this one prior to doing this research, but another one that was seen was feed a cold, starve a fever. Like I said, I didn't hear about this one when I was growing up, but I guess the concept behind it was kind of regulating the body temperature. It was historically believed that to either raise it or lower it was done by feeding or starving. But doctors advise that you don't keep your body nourished or malnourished to regulate any kind of illness, that it's best to always eat properly, hydrate yourself properly, take care of yourself properly when you're sick. You don't want to starve yourself in any situation. It's always best to feed yourself, whether that be with the food, the water, and the medication, all consecutively, to take care of any illness that you might be suffering at the time. So definitely keep that in mind. The starving anything while you're sick is not advised. Always take care of yourself. Another health old wives' tale that we have is eating carrots betters your eyesight. I believe this so heavy when I was young. I would eat the crap out of carrots thinking that I was going to have the best eyesight ever. For some reason, it was like this weird competition of mine to just be the best in everything, including eyesight. It's kind of dumb, but that was how my brain worked back then. And with that, the thought behind eating carrots improves your eyesight is not true. That's just some silly old wives' tale. Probably also for the sake of getting your kids to eat healthy. It had nothing to do with anything really. It was just be sure to eat your vegetables. It'll improve your eyesight. And for some kids like me, for some reason that mattered. But that's another one that is talked about as an old wives' tale. Now, rolling into some of our more superstition ones regarding bad luck, good luck, stuff like that. We're going to roll into the ones that revolved around bad luck. So, breaking a mirror will bring 7 years of bad luck. How many people have heard that before? So that's something that I've heard, and I've broken so many mirrors. I don't think it's fair to say that my bad luck is because of that. I think it's just a situation where I want to blame it on something. But 7 years bad luck from breaking a mirror kind of comes from Roman belief, because they believed that mirrors held pieces of your soul. So if you broke the mirror, then you got 7 years of bad luck. That is just a belief. There's no actual proof or evidence to back it up, but it is an interesting thing to believe. Kind of a funny thing, because we all want to blame our decision making and results on something. So it must have been that mirror that I broke last week. That's the only reason why I'm having this stream of bad luck, right? I feel like that's how some people kind of treat it. But another bad luck thing, walking under a ladder. So that comes from the ancient Egyptians. I guess with the ancient Egyptians, if I could talk right, it is believed that ladders kind of formed a sacred triangle, and that if you walked under it, you would desecrate the gods by walking under it. So it kind of was kind of a religious thing, that if you crossed under this triangle formed by the ladder, it was a disrespectful act, and it opened up a passageway to evil and negativity. So that's why they always said to not do that, to not go under a ladder. And even though it was an ancient Egyptian thing, I feel like that was something that was brought here and really practiced here, because I heard that a lot growing up in the United States here. Another good bad luck old wives' tale that I heard about a lot when I was growing up. It was every time I was at a dinner table and I accidentally reached over and toppled over the container of salt. I was always told you need to grab a pinch of salt and throw it over your shoulder. Why is that? Well, that act of spilling the salt by accident apparently attracts evil. It is believed that you can reverse this bad luck by taking a pinch of salt and throwing it over your left shoulder. I always thought that it was just throw it over your shoulder. I didn't realize that it was specifically your left shoulder, but apparently it's over your left shoulder specifically. But this originates from 3500 BC, and the ancient Sumerians, they highly thought that that salt was really valuable, and that if you spilt it, it was viewed as wasteful and disrespectful. Which I think is kind of funny that the reversal of this bad luck is to be more wasteful and throw even more salt over your shoulder. That seems kind of funny to me. But that's where all that originated from, is the ancient Sumerians not liking the salt being wasted. Now the next bad luck old wives' tale or superstition is one that I'm reminded of every time I'm seen doing this action, and it's honestly quite funny, and that is opening an umbrella indoors. So it is thought that opening an umbrella indoors brings bad luck. The lore reason for this is in ancient times, opening a sunshade or an umbrella was considered an offense to the sun god. But in all reality, it seems to me like the real reason why it is viewed as bad luck to open an umbrella indoors is simply because it is a dangerous act. Because if the person standing next to you might accidentally catch a sharp prong to the eye when the umbrella shoots open. So it's made with these wire metal prongs on the inside that kind of hold the support and the shape of the umbrella. So it's actually more so just a dangerous thing to open the umbrella indoors when you're around people. Now circling back to kitty cats, black cats are unfortunately given a bad name because of old folklore and old wives' tales. They have been associated with a train of bad luck, which is really upsetting because I've owned many cats. I own many cats, and I personally feel like the black cats are the sweetest ones. My other cats are kind of jerks. But it is said or believed that black cats are associated with witchcraft. So because of that, they supposedly are bad omens if they cross your path. So a lot of people, especially during the holiday of Halloween, will go out of their way to harm a black cat if they see them walk by, simply because of this old wives' tale rumor that holds absolutely no truth. And it's just really sad to say that poor kitty cats become victims during certain times of the year simply because they're just trying to pass by and get from point A to point B, and they try to do it safely, but humans will be humans, and sometimes that's not a good thing. One of the bad luck reversal methods that we kind of talk about every time we say something that might jinx ourselves, that old saying that we use, knock on wood, is kind of like a reversal situation where you would knock on a piece of wood to keep yourself from experiencing some bad luck thing that you may have accidentally just mentioned or put out in the universe. A lot of people believe that when you put something out in the universe, you receive that back. So just speaking on something out loud could come back to you. So the thought of knocking on wood is rooted in ancient pagan beliefs about touching a sacred tree to summon protective spirits and ward off the bad fortune. So that's kind of where that thoughts of knocking on wood came from, which is interesting because I never really knew why we said that, but it is something that I would even say often. Oh, you better knock on wood, you may have just jinxed yourself, type of thing. And it's a practice that I've even made myself, but not really knowing why or where it came from. Now I know. So now we're going to talk about some of the good luck wives' tales or superstitions that some of us have heard of, some of us practice, and some of us believe in. So something that I've heard of but never really knew about it in depth was, I had always heard that horseshoes are good luck. I thought that it was just simply having a horseshoe meant good luck, but it seems like it runs deeper than that. Like it's more so the way you present a horseshoe. So it is said that if you take a horseshoe and you hang it above a doorway so that the open end is facing upwards, like a U shape, that is a storage vessel. When it's a U shape, it kind of becomes a storage vessel for good luck. I didn't realize that it was that specific, that it had to be hanging a particular way, but viewing it like that and hearing it, why it's viewed that way, makes more sense to me, because it would catch things being a storage vessel. So I see where that comes from, but me myself, I don't know if I've ever actually experienced good luck with having horseshoe. Then again, I've not hung it in the doorway as it's told to be hung. Now, of course, these old wives' tales, they don't really have like definitive facts or truth to back them up. So saying that I've never experienced that myself, that good luck with the horseshoe, doesn't really validate or say anything at all, because has anybody really truly proven that their good luck has come from some of these superstitions? No. They're just fun little things that we preach and convince ourselves are true for the sake of having this peace and comfort. So another good one that my dad taught me for good luck was the penny one. Whenever you find a penny on the floor or on the ground, if it is heads up, you pick it up, and if it's tails up, you flip it over for the next person to pick up. And doing either of those acts will bring you good luck. Now, I can't say that I've definitely seen good luck in doing this, but it is something that I still do every time I see a penny. So I think it is kind of funny that even though we see that these things don't really hold truth, we still choose to practice them or believe them or entertain them simply because it's just what we've done for so many years, and it does make us feel good to do these things. Just kind of holding on to that what if hope in the back of your head. Another good money one that I still to this day kind of live by and in a sense believe is the itchy palms means you're about to get good fortune. So the first time I ever heard this, I walked up to my mom with concern that my palms were really itchy. Like I was just scratching the crap out of them and couldn't understand why they were so freaking itchy. And she looked at me and she was like, "Oh, sounds like you probably need to go buy a lottery ticket." I'm like, what the heck does that even mean? How is that gonna solve anything? And then that's when she told me that it is believed that when you have itchy palms, it means good fortune or money is about to come your way. And even though, again, there's no fact or proof to back that up, I still to this day, anytime I feel that, I think, maybe I should go get a lottery ticket. Maybe today's my lucky day, or this week's my lucky week. Of course, it has not panned out yet because I have not hit the lottery yet. But it's a good sense of a fun little thing to do, and maybe someday I will get lucky and that itchy palm will actually hold some truth to it. That's a fun thing to hope for, I suppose. So the phrase old wives' tales dates back to at least the 16th century. It originated from oral traditions of women who gathered to share folklore, herbal remedies, and stories to teach life lessons. So that's kind of where the thought of old wives' tales comes from. It's just teaching lessons. Today, the expression describes any traditional belief or superstition that is passed down through generations, but it lacks factual evidence. So that's kind of what I was mentioning earlier, is that there's no actual evidence to back any of this stuff up, but yet we still preach it and pass it down. Some situations, like the carrots, could be believed to be preached simply to get children to eat their vegetables, to not have to force them to do so, but make them want to willingly do so. And superstitions like it's bad luck to break a mirror or walk under a ladder can stem from we have these bad luck streaks, or that's the way we see it, come up in our lives, and we want an explanation as to why we're experiencing these things. Everybody wants an explanation. That's what we live for. We need that sense of closure. It seems like we kind of convince ourselves of these things that happen around us or that go on to try to make us feel better about some of the decisions that we've made or feel like, oh, well, maybe that's why this is happening to me. Superstitions are very similar to the old wives' tale. They kind of work on a cause and effect basis. So humans, we are people or creatures that like to have an explanation for certain events. We don't, like I said, we don't like to have unanswered questions. We like that closure. So having an explanation will bring us a sense of peace and almost a control in the situation. Like, oh, I figured it out. I know why this happened. I'm in control now. While there's no truth or evidence to back up these old wives' tales or these superstitions, it is still taught to our children and to generations not to do certain things, or to do certain things, or if certain things happen, it's because of this, or it means this. There's no truth behind it, but I think we still practice it even with knowing there's no truth, because it is kind of like a fun little game or a fun thing to plant in somebody's mind. I started this talking about the cats, how they lay on your chest to heal you. And while they may not heal you physically, I do feel like they heal you mentally and emotionally. So that's where all this came from today. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. If not, then I hope you just enjoyed listening to it and watching me build this project. When it's hanging on the wall, these little pieces here will kind of drape down the front and it'll look really pretty. But we're gonna let this dry here, and then I'll take a final video to put on the end of this and show you guys what it looks like as it is completely finished. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you guys next week on another episode of Crafting with Crow. Uploads every Wednesday. And then my Everything Freaky and Full of Mystery. We work on projects similar to this while I tell stories under topics of the supernatural, the uncomfortably cringy, and the downright shocking. So be sure to join me over there too. Check out that channel. It's a really good one. I hope to see you guys next week. You guys take care of yourselves. Bye.